Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom with Katharina. And today I will talk about the new moon reading. Now, we're going to have a dark moon. And I want to explain first about the dark moon that in Western astrology, generally people talk about new moon. And I want to share here a picture with you to show you how that really works. Now, when we start out here at full moon, we have the descending moon going down to a quarter to half and further down to the dark moon when you do not see the moon anymore. We have in a total 3 days that you do not see the moon. And on the third day after the dark moon, you will see the little moon crescent coming up, the first rising moon. And this is the new moon. This has a very special also importance in the tradition of the Islamic fasting. That is when the Ramadan is finished, when people can see the first moon crescent rising. Now from there it goes up again to full moon. I have to say here, see, it is not logical to call this new moon because the moon is not new. This is the moment when the sun and the moon are in conjunction. We can say that is the connection with yin and yang, the love making. This is conception. This is when I put a seed into the soil before it starts to grow. First it goes down, it cracks open, and afterwards it can start to grow. And that will be the rising moon, the first new moon that's coming up that you will see. Now, this is important to understand because generally I don't agree with things that usually are supported by mainstream. Please be careful when it goes with mainstream media because many things are not right. You can have a lot of half-truths, but it's very difficult to find the real thing. Okay, so now let's move to the moon reading. You see we have another very special chart, and you see that all the aspects and planets are here in a very concentrated cluster. Now again, this is made for London. I use this as the 0-degree meridian as a reading for the whole world. And you can see that we here have another cluster of 4 planets together. This is Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Chiron. Now, see, in Western astrology, they say these planets are in Aries. But when you look at it, actually, it's in Pisces, in the real constellation. And again, those who hear that maybe first time, go and have a look at the facts. You can use a program that is called Stellarium. This is a free download where you can see where the planets are traveling through in real time. So when we have here this very strong constellation, the sun and the moon, Mercury and Chiron in Pisces, that is the sign of hidden truth. That is the sign where you cannot see. And in addition, when you look at the horoscope made for London, it is in 12th house, which is the house of Pisces. So also Jupiter, Neptune together reinforce that topic, even if Jupiter is in Aquarius, but Pisces is already in Pisces. So there is confusion, and again, confusion. People do not see what happened. And the reason why it is like that is that all the old has to fall down before the new can come up. How can something new come out when the old is not gone? Now, everybody who has a little bit about idea about gardening knows what I'm talking about. You have to get rid of the old stuff that new things can come out right. And we have, when you look here in the first house, we have Aquarius in Aries, so that you see the conflict. The first thing that is approaching, that is visible, is the conflict in the world, the confusion and the conflict. And this is very important because how can we move on again if we still hang on to our old patterns, to our old belief systems, if we still believe narratives and stories that have nothing to do with us anymore today. We can see the root in Gemini and the MC, the goal that we are supposed to reach, Sagittarius, is not to be stuck again and in the future, in the old paradigm, but the moving forward through the horizontal line of mundane understanding, to move into a higher understanding of what really is, to move beyond the narrative, to move beyond all the beliefs that we had before. Mercury is, in a way, the representative of our personality. When you look at the sign, we have on top, we have the moon, which is the aspect of receiving. We have the sun, which is the aspect of consciousness. And below we have the cross, which is materialization. This is how a human being functions. We receive. And we receive inspiration, intuition. We can talk to others, we can read, we can discuss things, we can go and learn, and this is all the input, and this is the receiving with the moon. And then the sun, the consciousness, makes something out of it. That's how we understand, that's how we comprehend. And then from this comprehension we can manifest something. So that means, again, if I know how to bake a cake, if I have the ingredients ready, I can manifest it, I can do it. So the first thing, I maybe go and get the cookbook, or I go online and find a nice recipe. And then when I understand what it is all about, then I go and get the ingredients together and I bake it and I have the cake. And everything is functioning like that in our life. Now, when there is Pisces, the last sign of Pisces, before the new beginning, this is all the letting go of all the old things. And we have so many planets here. And when we look here at Venus and Mars here with Saturn together, and when you look here, they are really in a very close conjunction with Saturn in the center of it. It is like that the old structures are all crashing. That is the structure of our belief system, of everything, whatever has been real for us is now crashing down, is now moving into this absolute chaos where people don't know anymore who they are, what they want, what you really want. You know, most people, they still talk about having money, having a car, having this, having that, riches. But has this ever made you happy? I mean, to have a nice car and drive fast might be some very nice feeling for a moment, but does it make you happy? No. Happiness is something else. Happiness is something that comes from inside. And humanity as a whole has mostly lost the ability to be happy because we have been focused on things. The religious that is still very clearly on that is like that we are unhappy as long as we cling to something. When we go forward, when we experience, and with every experience we had afterwards let go, we go the so-called middle path and we can be happy because we can learn to enjoy everything that we have in the moment. Now, with this constellation that we have here, it is all about letting go of the old material focus and find within us again the spirit. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are not this body and we are not this personality. The word persona comes from Latin, and personare means talking through. And when you look at old dramas, you see them talking through the mask. And this is who we are. Our body is the costume, is the mask is the base for the spiritual being that we are to be able to have a human experience. Now, all this human experience we've had in the past in the third dimension, lower consciousness that was hijacked from very low conscious being, is paradigm that we have to let go. I have said that before, and again, we have moved into the photon belt. And the photon belt is like a huge wheel of light that we are moving through twice during the 26,000 year cycle. And now we have entered the photon belt. And this is also part of why our climate is changing and many other things are changing too. And we have not been, as a humanity, destroyed, moving into this new age in this time. And because of the photon belt, of this light energy influx, the consciousness level of humanity was rising. So we are also not moving into the age of Aquarius now. This is in about 600 years. But once we are through the photon belt, this 1,000 years, we are still in the age of Aquarius. So the humanity consciousness is rising. And with this rising, we move into another level or dimension, as we call it. We move into the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension is that dimension that is not fear-based anymore. But we cannot get there unless we are confronting all the fears that we still have. You know, when we have the opposite axis, fear, love, as long as you have fear, you will never be 100% into love. You know, many people, they talk about loving something or somebody. This is more like we would have to say like, but what is that true love? Love is not an emotion. Maybe some of you have experienced when you went in a very deep meditation that you're in that state of love. And I would more or less say it's a state of peace, of total peace. You are relaxed, you have no expectations. And you love the world, you love everything what is around you because you are at peace within yourself. When you find that peace, nothing outside of you matters anymore. And now when you look in the world, what do we have? We have exactly the opposite. We have war, and it's, you know, the war is just a manifestation of the human consciousness. And it is just that chaos that is materialized in the world physically of what we are doing within ourselves too. So there again, we are moving into polarity, into duality, those who take, like they are the good guys, they are the bad guys, so on. But you know, there is no good and bad on a higher level. It is just what has to happen to wake up humanity. And this is so strong now and nobody can escape anymore. It is that moment when you have to heal yourself. Chiron here, the healer, is together with Mercury, the moon, and the sun. That means we have our personality, our feelings, our consciousness is now together to focus on ascension. Now, when you look at the symbol of Chiron, it's not very well visible here, but you can see that here maybe a little bit better. This is a circle, and then is the vertical line, and we have here the moon. It looks a little bit like a key, and I think also it is really a key in our life. So we have no square. We have no horizontal bar here anymore. The symbol means through consciousness rising, the moon is moving up. The soul is going home. That is the true healing. The true healing is not like fixing a wound or whatever in your physical body. The true healing is understanding who you are, the journey of your soul. Now, when you look at this, it's actually a fantastic constellation that we have. We have now the chance to raise our consciousness, to send our soul on the journey home, much more conscious than ever before. Now, in this constellation, and this is why it is also in the 12th house for the world, that we have to go inward. You cannot find that truth outward. Of course, there are good and bad guys out there fighting, and the whole civilization is crashing down into some abyss. But this is just all that what that artificial structure of it was. It is like the house of cards that is coming down, that cannot hold, that has absolutely no substance and sustenance in front of a true divine spirit. Now we can become this. Now we are on the journey inside. Now, when we go inside, when we go into the feeling, what do I really want? What is really important to me? And a lot of people, they will still have like, money is important for me, and this is important for me, and that, and my promises, my vows, whatever. That's fine. We are not all on the same consciousness level. And now when I said that before, also the timelines are splitting. That does not mean that there are only two. There are several timelines depending what you want. And this is what you're going to manifest. This is what is going to happen for you, what you want. Now, this is why you have to choose carefully in the moment. Jupiter with Neptune together. See, the expansion in the moment is not outside. It is not a time to make decisions like changing a job or trying to pursue a career or whatever. So it is something much more important. You know, a career might be something for a few years for you, but your soul is who you are. That's the rest of your life. So it is really important that you focus on that. Even if you lose a job or whatever happened in the outside world, remember that it has a reason why it happens to you. Once you look at the things around you and you really start to understand why they happen around you, because you have manifested them, you can take back your power and you can see the structure of what it is, as we see here in Capricorn. I said that also before. When you look at Capricorn as a sign of winter, as a principle, it's like when the tree has lost all the leaves, where you can see the structure. Now, in a way, everything becomes naked. You can see behind illusion. You can see with all that what is coming to the surface in the moment. You can see that all the hidden secrets that were away from us are coming out into the open. Even if they were actually hidden in the open, but we didn't see them yet. But now it will become much, much more clear. And this will help us to make decisions. This will help us to move inside of us, to contemplate what we really want. And this will lead us to the MC, to the goal of Sagittarius, that we move beyond that horizontal line, that we move forward and are not stuck anymore here. When you look at the symbol of Saturn, we have on top, we have the cross and the moon hanging at the vertical bar. But we are, the soul is underneath the horizontal line, which is a symbol of the soul in the underworld. And this is why Saturn is connected with death. Now, I want strongly recommend also to stop to judge aspects of the charts like Saturn is the enemy. No, it's not. Just, we need death. Without death, nothing new can really grow. Again, think about your garden. You have to get the old stuff out. Otherwise, it's just a wilderness. And at the end, you hardly see anything anymore. Now it is the time, and we come into a phase where we tackle down all that old, that the new can come up. You have heard about people who have new inventions about energy, free energy, all these things. I'm sure you've heard about it. And all these people have been shut up, you know, they cannot, they've been silenced by media, by even if they did patent things, the patents, they vanish, or they suddenly died. People who were full of life suddenly had an accident or committed so-called suicide. That's all not true. So we are in a phase now when a lot of surprises are coming towards us. And I know most people don't like surprises. I like them sometimes, but not always either. It's difficult. But now, when you get prepared, and I recommend you to start to go to some people who do research in the underground, follow those who are being silenced, those who are from the mainstream removed, go find them. A lot of them are here. You find a lot on Telegram and other channels. I just have started Gap I like that because they bring up a complete parallel economic system. That's fantastic. But I'm not yet there that I completely understand how to handle it. I have to learn first. So see, all these things are coming up, and that's very typical also for the sun, moon in Pisces. Maybe you still struggle with what you should do or what you want to do, or you don't know yet. And that's because it's in Pisces. We have to wait. And it is not easy, because patience is not an attribute that most people have. We are now, especially in the computer time, you know, when 20, 30 years ago, when we didn't have that, we still had a letter, and the letter maybe had a week to get somewhere. And then you have to answer. So the other person gets the answer and has to wait for the answer for 2 weeks. Now just imagine. Times have changed and people are more and more impatient, which is actually also a next step in our evolution into, we can say, the fifth dimension, a higher dimension. And maybe internet will be replaced through inner net, because when we rise further in our consciousness level, you become more and more transparent, empathic. You will feel the thoughts of others. Like, did it happen to you, for example, that you got a call and you just thought of that person, and 5 minutes later that person calls? This will be norm. This will be our life in the future. That we think of somebody, that we become more transparent, those who ascend in the higher timeline. And then life is also much easier, because it is much easier to understand other people when we open up towards each other and don't live a lie. Most of us live a lie. And that is not that because of you or somebody's bad, but it is because they have believed the lies that they are brainwashed into since children. It is a pity to see how the cabal has managed whole generations to make like puppets on a string, like sheep. They cannot even think logical anymore. When you look at the whole picture, what's going on, it is absolutely not logical, for example, to wear this face covering. When you just try, when you breathe, where is the air coming in? Where is the air coming out? What is a virus anyway? Has anybody ever done the research what a virus is? Probably not. All those who just believe because it was said in the TV or written in the newspapers or whatever. These are the brainwashed people who just believe into authority. And this will crash because they start to realize that the authority let them down. Something must be wrong. And a lot of people are waking up. Now, see, this is the good news about that constellation. And we have here also still 2 orange and this red line here, a little triangle. That is the effort. See, these are still the karmic patterns that have to be resolved. And they are very much connected with fear and guilt. And we have all that in the paradigm of not being good enough, you know, all that story. And this is now crashing. Now we have this little green line here going to Uranus in Aries. So you can see that it's like that wall that has been built around us for our protection, because of the fear, is crashing. It's like the cracks are coming to bring down that wall. And that is our big chance to see in a different way that this is not real. This is not working that way. So when you see now here Sun, Moon, and Mercury in Pisces, and then we have here the very strong 3 planets here in Capricorn. And even if Jupiter is just at the end of Aquarius, it's in conjunction with Neptune, who is also, see, with Neptune also in Pisces, that pulls Jupiter into Pisces. But it is the moment that when you go inside and when you look deep, when you ask the divine within you to guide you, to reveal to you the truth, that's the moment it can happen. Because Uranus here shows that the breakthrough that is happening within the people, within the individual, even within the masses, is already happening. So even if we cannot see it in a moment, and it takes a little while longer, not much, just we're talking about weeks, I'm not talking about years. Just imagine all the thousands of years we've been in this slave energy. That's over. We don't need to get back there anymore. We will harvest afterwards all the experience that we had, all the talents, everything what we have learned will help us to move forward, to create a different and a better society. The main aspects that we have here is the breakthrough and the consciousness shift of the masses who start to manifest the new consciousness. And this is also what we can see outside in the war that is still happening. Look a little bit deeper and go beyond mainstream, and you will find why this has to happen. This is not because there are some bad guys doing this, but this is because humanity needs to experience to wake up. And it is time. It's time now. And I think in the next couple of weeks, if there are people, they are still sleeping, don't waste your time to try to help them to wake up. They won't. And this again is not bad, because there are many people who have a different consciousness level. Just imagine that many people have actually incarnated in a moment to come at that moment of that transition, but their consciousness level is still lower. Now, just I want to make a very simple comparison. Think about this. When we go to school, we have kindergarten, we have first grade, so on, and we have high school, senior high, university, and every person on that level of the school where she or he is, you cannot say that because somebody is in kindergarten or in 5th grade or in high school, that the person is not good. It is just where that consciousness level is at the moment. And this will also, like, so some people, they come here now, like, for example, you go for a year abroad to kind of get a little bit experience how life in a different country can be. So you go there maybe for a year and you live with that people, and that broadens your horizon. You learn many more things. You learn maybe different food, you learn different cultures, different songs, whatever is involved. And then you come back to the country where you're born and you can integrate that more knowledge into your life. And so there are many souls who come from a lower consciousness level to be here at this time, this like that 1 year or that one phase, to reach out into a higher consciousness so they can bring it home afterwards where they are and help people to learn to see on a higher level consciousness. Okay, so that's more or less the information that I have for you. And I also have been asked if I would teach a workshop on astrology. I would, yes, but it's a bit difficult. We have to find a time for different time zones. And if there are some people interested, if you would learn this method, you can contact me. You can use my full name as written at gmail.com. I still have that one. And or you can, those who follow me on Telegram, whatever, you can contact me there, and we can try to organize something. If you like the video and like the information, please put that like up there and share it. And I wish you a very good dark moon time. Please use that time, use that very powerful constellation to help you to find out who you really are and what you really want. Thank you.